All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Tyman on Tap. This is September 16th, 2014. We're recording. You'll probably be watching this show sometime later this week. At that point, you'll know whether Scotland's an independent country or not. We don't have an episode number. This week I have a great guest, an artist from New Haven, JoAnn Moran. Next week we have Run Jenny, a band that I do not have very much information about in front of me right now. So make sure you check us out on the Facebook, on the Twitter, at Tyman on Tap Show, on the YouTube, YouTube/Tyman on Tap. We're also on Vimeo. We're on audio, or we're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're on Podcasts R Us. We're on Podcast Galore. We're on Flickr, Tyman on Tap. We're on Instagram, Tyman_on_tap. And we have a great guest tonight. We're going to talk about some art. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. And now let's begin. So hello, JoAnn.
Hey, Joe.
So I guess, so you're an artist. So let's talk about the art you actually do. So how would you define your art?
Gee, I create art, I guess, by and for the people. My goal is to, or my work involves involving people in the creation of art for usually the purpose of social change, environmental or social justice. And so this project on the table right here is part of that. And I've been doing this for 25 or so years. And I've done some really fun projects, and I guess if in life you have to work a lot to do what you do, you better like doing it. Yes.
So, so as a little kid, did you know you wanted to be an artist, or is this something that came to you later in life?
I guess as a kid, you don't think that you know you want to be an artist. I think you just do whatever it is that you do, and you like to do it.
Yes.
And that's what I did a lot of. My original artwork was painting the walls in our basement, and
well, like, did your parents let you do that, or did you just start doing it?
Yeah, well, yeah, they let me do that. I mean, it was a basement, unfinished basement. So, you know, I painted all the walls in there, and then it graduated upstairs to my bedroom, and, you know, album covers, dated there. Yeah. My favorite was Roger Dean, the Yes album. Yes. I don't know if you've ever
I don't know all about Yes.
And so those were plastered on walls, and then I started painting walls, you know, in my friends' houses. Yeah. And then a business asked me to paint a mural and offered to pay me, and I was like, what? This is a cool thing.
That sounds pretty cool.
I'll do that, you know. And so it all started there. And then when I had children, one of the best ways for me to do my parent volunteering was to paint a mural with the class, because I can get through with my volunteering for the entire year by making a mural with the class or with the school for that week. So, yeah, a lot of schools have murals.
Yeah, I imagine so. So, are you like formally trained? Did you go to art school, or is this something you kind of developed?
Yes, I started, but I back then working with and learning and studying or exploring public art, which is the artwork in the public realm. There wasn't that much going on, say, in art history. And when I looked at the books of art history, Western Civ, or it's all, even Western Civ books, are really pictures of the artwork that was left behind. That's really what we have to study history with, is the pictures of the artwork left behind and trying to decipher it. So I originally left to go to Mexico to see Diego Rivera's works in Mexico, and that led to going to Italy, to Greece, and I had to see them in person. Yeah. I'm just a hands-on type of person.
So you must love the Yale Art Gallery then.
Yes, it's great to be in New Haven.
Yeah. So what do you prefer, the Yale British Art Gallery or the regular Art Gallery?
They all each have their own flavor. Okay. And depends on the show, too. But some of their permanent works, if you haven't gone, you need to go. So it's great.
I personally just like this painting. Well, they have the Night Cafe, which is probably my most favorite painting in the whole entire world, and that's in the Yale Art Gallery, which is great.
Right.
But they had this really absurd painting in the British Art Gallery where it was like a slave battling like a serpent, and it's just like you see this guy like being constricted by a boa constrictor. It's very like an intense painting, and it's just like, did somebody pose for this? Did you say, go wrestle that snake? I need to paint this. It's like, what are you doing? It's so British. But so that's cool.
It was a rubber stamp. Well, it was funny.
Yeah. So you're based out of New Haven. You have a studio there. So what are you doing in your studio? Like on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, what are you doing? Assuming that you're in your studio at 10 o'clock.
At 10? That's late. In the morning?
Yes.
I actually wake up at about 5.
Okay.
And I call myself a working artist because I actually get up every day and work.
Yeah.
So if I'm not working on, say, a project, getting ready for a project, I'm either working on a website, possibly, or doing some development on a new project that I want to do. Like this project here, and we're going to do a little bit of it, required about a week of setup. And so, you know, for about a week, I had my whole studio full of old chairs. And, you know, that's that week. And then I clean up, and we're on to the next project. And the next project is actually the creation of 1,000 holiday stockings.
Wow.
It's a go local project.
So is that like a take on the 1,000 paper cranes, like from the origami stuff that they do in Japan when somebody's sick?
Oh.
Yeah, well, if you're sick, you're allowed to say, or if you say like your mother was sick, you could go to random people in Japan and be like, I need 1,000 cranes for my mother, and they would fold you a crane.
That's so cool.
And so,
no, you know what? I didn't make that association at all.
Just
Yeah, but I mean, it could be now.
Yeah.
Now it has that association. Now I'll find an association because it's a go local, go green campaign of Connecticut.
So
all things made in Connecticut in a stocking.
That's pretty cool. So let's talk about this. So you do a lot of environmental awareness art. So what really, as an artist, drew you to the whole, I can use my medium to promote this thing I really value? Like, how did you determine that this is a great avenue for you?
Well, there's only so much time one has in life. So if you've got to do all these things, or you want to make, say, a difference in the world, or you want to make art, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
And, you know, did have children, things like that. It's kind of like having a confluence of all these things makes it more feasible. So for me, to be able to use art as the conduit or vehicle to do change was really the best way to do it, because then I can devote time to it.
Yes.
Because working as an artist and then maybe going off to a march, which there is, a significant march in New York City on the 21st, which is the true International Peace Day,
Yes.
Is supposed to be the largest environmental march in history. It's just before the UN meets about the environment and the carbon, our wonderful carbon print. There's a saying I read recently. It was, we don't leave the planet to our next generation, or our children. We borrow it from them.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. I forgot who said that, but.
And you must be excited. The new city engineer in New Haven has promised to replace all the standard streetlights with LED lights and do more green initiatives. They're more financial based, but his thing is to reduce the environmental impact of the city of New Haven.
Well, it takes everything.
Yeah.
You know, it takes it coming from every direction.
So
you know.
So it's very, I guess, in some sense, it's an exciting time. In other sense, you still have people fracking and stuff like that. Do you have to worry about at the same time?
I mean, it needs people to be aware. I guess this is why I am trying to get programs. I design programs that are reproducible. So the idea is designing a program that people can participate in of any age and any ability, and make it so that they can enjoy it and be able to learn from it. And then be able to train my assistants or community members how to conduct that program so they can continue doing it. Because instead of having to, say, hire me to come back, which is very limited amount of impact. So if you train people to continue doing a project, then it makes a larger impact. So if this project, which is to reclaim chairs that are heading for the landfill, expands and people go, wow, what a neat project. We're going to start collecting chairs. Reducing the landfill is incredibly important. People don't understand that even though wood or food or paper or these things are can decompose,
yes.
they don't decompose inside of a landfill.
Yeah.
Because they're covered so much, the air can't get to them. So it just becomes like, you know, like a sarcophagus. You know,
Yeah.
you're not decomposing. So it just builds and builds. So it is really, you know, just to think, well, you know, I'm going to throw the banana peel in the garbage and it will eventually decompose is actually not true. So same with the chair.
Yeah.
It's a wooden chair and one might think it would decompose, but it won't. So when you cover it over with
Sure.
tons of other trash, do you know that Americans create 25 million tons of garbage in a year?
Wow.
And during the holidays, we create 1 million more tons a week from Thanksgiving to New Year's.
Wow. How does that
You
compare, compared to like the rest of the developed world? Like, are we?
Oh my God, we're exponentially above in every category. And
Yeah.
you probably have seen our prison population is
Yeah.
skyrockets compared to every other country. So I mean, it's kind of shocking to see some of these
Yes.
these things. I don't know how I went to prison populations, but one of the things is the reason I bring that up is because our funding is 3 times more for funding the creation and upkeep of maintenance of prisons than our education. So education also includes education about the environment, about ecosystems, about human interaction with ecosystems, how we impact it, and so forth. You know.
It's a lot of stuff to think about, but so there's a sign behind you that says first reduce, then reuse, then I guess recycle after that. So,
Good.
So you mentioned before we went on that they're in a specific order. Do you want to talk about that order and like
Sure.
why it's important to do it in that order? I guess.
Exactly. So people know, and some people don't know, the 3 R's. It used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic, right?
But
With
the
the
arithmetic's
R. I
an
don't
A,
know
though.
where they. I know. How did they ever do that? But
Which would be
so
against the other in writing.
Like someone just try, you know, explain that, right?
Yeah.
You gotta do it. Okay, the 3 R's are reduce, reuse, recycle. They're in that order because first you want to reduce the amount of trash that you produce.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to reuse what you can't reduce. And then after you've reused, then you recycle.
Yes.
So if you can't reuse it, then you recycle it. But hopefully you're getting things that can be recycled. You keep conscious about that so that if it can't be reduced and you can't eliminate it and you can't reuse it, then you can recycle it. So most people feel that, you know, recycling is like the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But actually it's the last thing that you should do before you reduce.
Yeah.
Reduce your stuff
Yes.
and then reuse the things that you do
So
use.
you use a reusable grocery bag, and then now
Right.
you stop putting plastic bags in the trash, right?
But even this is a reuse project.
Yes.
So even though it's like, say, we think of reusing a bag, you could also reuse almost anything. You know, I use in all my projects.
Cat food?
They're cat food containers. They're perfect. They're perfect for little paint containers for my projects. I use large and small, and then I also use these. Although an aluminum can is 100% recyclable, so it takes, like, I think it's 60 days for this to go get recycled and be on the shelf as a new can.
Wow.
It's really a tremendous, and Americans only recycle 50% of their aluminum. And it saves so much natural resources to make aluminum because it takes heat,
Yeah.
basically, in all these processes, you know.
And aluminum is hard to mine too, so I mean. It's not
Right. I mean, and we're just chucking it. It's almost like compared to how many people vote. I think 50% of the American population vote, and 50% we recycle 50%
I wonder if
of
there's
our
a
aluminum.
Venn diagram of the 50% that vote, how many of them are also.
I wonder, right? I wonder who is like, if the same people who vote, same people recycle. I bet you there's probably some correlation.
Yeah. I don't know. There might be some really disenchanted voters that don't recycle but don't vote. They're tired of the old.
Study on that.
Yeah.
Can we get Yale on that?
Give them a call. So let's take a 20-second break, and then we'll go and let's talk about this chair after we come back.
And we're going to paint.
Yeah, exciting. All right, so, and welcome back, everybody. This is the first time on Tyman Untapped. It's not the first time we're making art, because every week we make art. This is the first time I'm painting on set. So, JoAnn, why don't you tell us about this chair that we're about to paint?
Okay, this is a reclaimed chair. This was on the side of the street somewhere. I put a call out recently for reclaimed chairs to save them from going to the landfill and to make a work of art out of it. It is a project called Give Peace a Chair, and giving homage to our wonderful late friend John Lennon, whose birthday was this month, and or in this next month. But anyway, there was an International Peace Festival. The International Peace Day is September 21st. They had a festival this weekend, in New Haven. And so what I did is I came up with this program that I'm hoping will continue called Give Peace a Chair, which is to get chairs, we prep them and then with white and then bring them to a festival or an engagement and people paint them. And then they go away with them and they're now reusable.
That's
so there's also a little bit of a another take on the word Give Peace a Chair, and that I'm working with some people in New Haven to address, you know, using the term giving peace a chair as in a discussion about, you know, violence or conflict resolution, that within a circle or within a discussion you need to give peace a chair in that discussion. So we're trying to use it in that way too.
Okay. So let's get started on this. So
okay. So this was started by a few young people at the festival, and it wasn't completed. So I brought it back with me to bring it somewhere else, and now it's here. So you really can pick any color you'd like. We have orange, pink, reddish, purple, blue, and green.
I'm a green person myself.
Oh, great.
You can see I have green white belt. It's my favorite color.
Yes.
And it's also like the only color not on my shirt. So hopefully I can keep it not on my shirt. But
so you can see there are some lines that someone drew, but also you can see how everything is painted is a little different, which makes it interesting. So we're going to paint for a little while, and you can talk about anything else you want to talk about, I guess.
So how long have you been doing the chair thing? Because it seems like it's a pretty organized thing on your part.
Oh, really? Actually, I just came up with it a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, I had a slight argument with someone about a chair, and and out of it came this this idea of Give Peace a Chair around, because a friend of mine also sent me an email about the Peace Festival, and all of a sudden I wake up in the morning with this idea of Give Peace a Chair. So that's how it happens. So that's how a lot of my ideas happen, is I wake up in the morning with them. And I'm like, what? And I did one where I woke up and it was creating a human peace sign with everyone holding large flowers that were basically umbrellas, like umbrella.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it was, we did it at May Day, and so I had recruited a whole bunch of people during the festival and basically painted all these umbrellas with flowers on them. And then we set up chairs and, you know, markers for people to stand, and then they opened their umbrellas. It was really cool, and we photographed it from on top of the building, and another time it was an aerial photograph. And it was really, really neat. And actually, it all started because I woke up in the morning with this crazy idea that just had to happen. That was only a one-time event. In most programs or most projects I design are meant to be reproducible. So what was really nice about this is everyone loved to paint. It was a really great experience. And then all the onlookers wanted to buy them, and so it is a very good fundraising event. And so next year we're going to try to run it as more of a fundraising program for the event, and figure out some way to either raffle them or something like that.
So who actually was putting on the event?
The West River Neighborhood Association put the event on. And it's International Peace Day, which is celebrated around the world.
Yes.
And New Haven has the designation of being a peace messenger city, which there's, I think, 20. Actually, I can't quote me on that, although you just did. There's a number of peace messenger cities, and New Haven's one of them. And so we have a peace garden, and so that's where the event was, at the International United Nations Peace Garden, and close to West River.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's a really great event. There's a website up of nhpeaceday.org.
And
oh, this is how I get. By the way, it's like I do as naturally as how I get. Well, it's easier, and you know what? If you try to wash your brush out with water, there's too much water in the brush. So my pants usually work as a great rag. I just go through a lot of them.
I'm a bad painter, right? I'm not a very detailed guy, and so mine does not look like a sunflower way. Some people do it. And the structure's clearly
it's actually better, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Different?
Yeah, it looks really different. But I mean, something like this, I mean, the detail isn't as fine as painting a sunflower, but it's still really cool and artistic, and it's something that you can you can show off. I mean, I feel like this is like the next big thing in art classes.
What, doing
something like that.
Chairs?
Or it could be any object, like a wine bottle or anything.
Right. Actually, I do paint. We do a lot of cans and shoes. One of the projects I ran this summer, you know, I had brought some old shoes in so that they painted them and made them into vase, like boots. And it could be like a vase. And then they started painting their own shoes, and which was quite interesting because they were like older teens. And they were very proud of their shoes.
That's cool.
So,
you know, we're going to cut to a break, and I'm going to keep painting through the break, and then we're going to go back, and we're going to talk about some of the other projects you've done that you have here to show us. Okay, everybody. In that 30-second break, we managed to paint a whole entire chair. So, as you can see...
Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. And I love your contributions. They're all like, look at that. See that design? Look at that. You made that.
Yes.
Look at that.
So I said that I didn't want to get any green on my shirt. Turns out I got a little bit of green on my shirt. A little bit. Managed to wash most of it off.
Absolutely gorgeous chair.
So yeah, this is
my recording thing.
Yeah. So this is great. This is really fun. This was I could see how this would really be a great tool to use when as educational tool as just getting people really involved in the art.
And hands-on, you know, reusing and seeing it actually in action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool stuff. So I don't know why he switched. I apologize for this view, folks. Neither of us are in this shot. All right, so you have some banners here that we want to get to before we get off air. Okay. What project is this?
Right. Well, okay, so this is another material I use a lot of, which is billboard material. This is a piece right here. It actually was an old Schubert billboard many years ago, actually. I still have it around.
So the Schubert from New Haven?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. It was, I could tell by the dot. I know my billboards. And these are about 48 feet by 16 feet, and they go up on the highway. So all the highway billboards you see are made out of this material. Yeah. And then they're taken down and they're discarded. And so basically I've been finding ways to use the material, and one of them was to create lamppost banners. So this is the same material sewn and grommeted, and then it becomes a lamppost banner. And these were made in Meriden, and then they go on. This is the attachment for the lamppost. So it goes to the lamppost, and then they stand up. And there's another one at the bottom. I ran this about 6 years in New Haven. We did 6 different shows, all theme-based.
Yeah.
One was a peace exhibit. One was called We the People. It was about democracy and participatory democracy. We had like the preamble to the Constitution visualized every pole right in front of City Hall.
That's
so
cool.
It's called We the People in order to form a more perfect union, and all the way down. And when you take the preamble and you illustrate it, people can actually sometimes understand it more.
Yeah.
The Constitution is an archaic piece of literature.
Yes.
So if you make like children's book out of it, you start realizing what the Constitution is and why we don't want it to go away.
Yes.
You know, why we don't want people doing things to, you know, to make it a less of something to protect us.
So I think we have a couple more minutes. So let's talk. So let's try to do like a brief 2-minute rundown of some of the things that some of the organizations and groups that you worked with. You were doing stuff in Meriden, correct, with
the Housing Authority.
The Housing Authority.
Yep.
You're making some.
I've worked with various groups, whether it's corporations and conferences and retreats to schools, entire schools making murals.
Mm-hmm.
A new project is always fun to design with. You know, if someone has a new problem they want to address with a large group of people
Yes.
and want to try to use art to do it, I come up with a program to address it. So this was a project in Chicago that was a problem to solve because we were going to do lamppost banners, but they didn't have lampposts that could be used. So I had to create a freestanding structure that they could make art on, which I then created what's called the cube. And it's made out of conduit, which stretches the material, and it's a three-dimensional public art platform, which allows you to make two-dimensional artwork in a free space. Because otherwise you'd need a wall or something like that. So it creates 4 walls. And so there's really neat pictures here. You know, and there's all this stuff is on my website and such. But so those are some of the best things. I'm starting a project. Just got a small mayor's grant to do the art of sitting, which is that's another, isn't it? Actually,
it's very like Buddhist like type of thing. Like it's like very.
Like, I thought about this. It's like the art of sitting. I have to make art, or I don't sit. 'Cause I don't sit very often. So the idea of making art out of sitting was probably the best way to approach sitting for me. But the idea is the community makes a bench together, and then it's placed in that community, and it makes a place for people to, an opportunity for people to share a good experience. Mm-hmm. And while making it, and then an outside experience where then you can reconnect or use the outdoor space peacefully.
All right, so we're running out of time here, folks. So are you on social media at all? Or are you a website?
I'm a website person.
Okay.
I do have a Facebook page, but I don't really go to it that much. But it's JoAnnMoran.com.
Okay. You can see your current art projects and what you're working on.
There's also, you know, all the projects that I do. I program like blueisgreen.co, which is all just a program that works with communities about recycling. Yeah,
teaching people how to recycling, single stream recycling programs, right?
Yeah. LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. All right, so thanks for coming, and everybody check us out on we have Facebook, we have a .com, TymanOnTap.com. It's actually up and about now, right, Alan? Hashtag TymanOnTap. At TymanOnTap. Check us out on Instagram, check us out on Flickr, check us out on all the social medias that you can, and like us and subscribe. All right, thanks for coming once again, and thanks for watching, folks.